That's where the brake fluid's going. Hey y'all, welcome back to Doug's Cars. If you watched my previous videos in this short series, I helped some friends buy a 1998 Isuzu Amigo, which is basically like a Jeep Wrangler. It's a two-door with a convertible top in the back and pop-out sunroof. And the thing is, we had to buy it way across the state, way in southwest Florida. And due to various circumstances, I'm the one who's driving it back. The younger couple and the man cannot drive stick shift yet, and this is a 5-speed manual. That's something that this vehicle will teach you how to do, which is great. And she's at home with a dog that just had some surgery. So me being Doug of Doug's Cars, I came along on this trip. So currently cruising along about 58 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere in Florida. I don't even know where we are, somewhere north of where we bought this, outside of Fort Myers area. And you know, the guy kind of screwed around on the deal a bit and changed the price kind of after we got there. And he knew we'd driven 5 hours to get there, and you know, that's not cool. But it shows what people do sometimes when you're buying a car used. And it was Daniel's first time buying a used car, something not from a dealership. So it was a good learning experience for him. I don't think he enjoyed it very much. But anyway, that's all in my other video. The guy didn't, doesn't want to be on camera, of course. So I don't have any of that, but dust out here in the fields. Anyway, you can watch that other video. I'll link to it above. That was fun. But now I'm actually driving it, and I'm driving it to the Villages, just a couple hours north of where we were, 3. And cruise along fine, 55. Little shake, rattle, and roll in here. But I mean, keep in mind, this was basically a 1980s Isuzu pickup, or Opel, or Vauxhall, or whatever. It was sold under so many names, but it is an Isuzu product, and a lot of them were made in Japan by Isuzu. Although some were made in Indiana, I think some were made in Luton, the Vauxhall Frontera versions. I don't know where the Opels were made, probably in Luton. That would make sense. Feel free to drop that in the comments below if you know, because I don't. I only researched this. It's 2.6 liter 4, real 4-wheel drive. It's got manual hubs in the front, which is cool. I'll have to teach them how to use that, because it's probably not something that someone in their 20s has ever experienced, unless they've worked with a full-size like F250 or something. But AC's decent. Manual windows, manual sunroof pops out, which is nice. So it's a neat little truck, 100,000 miles. Brakes are a little squishy. Might need to be just bled. I don't know. That's something that can be taken a look at when it gets back to town. But I've got a goal for tonight, and I want to get there for dinner. It's about 3:30 now, and I've got probably another 2.5 hours or so to go. I am in the middle of nowhere, which is good, because this is a shakedown cruise. Who knows the last thing that this car was on a long journey. So this is a shakedown cruise. Temperature gauge is right in the middle. I'm jinxing myself. Fuel gauge is always still on full after 38 miles, so it probably doesn't work. So, but hey, you never know with these things. It is a little 4-cylinder. But cruising along, I got like 15 more miles on this road before I turn. There's no one in front of me. He's behind me in his modern Camry with, all the mod cons, as the Brits would say. So I'm just cruising along, and I figured I'd give some updates along the way. And, let y'all know, because there's not a lot of videos about the Amigo. There's not too many left. I mean, they weren't bad cars, but they were inexpensive. They were family transportation, and not a lot of the 2-door convertible ones were sold. Most people bought the Rodeo, which was the 4-door family version, with the 3.5, 3.2, or 3.5 liter V6, and the automatic, and, CD player, and leather seats, and that kind of stuff. This didn't have any of that. So, there's a stop and a turn coming up. That's interesting. So, to start slowing down here. It shifts really well, steers very nicely. I just think I'm not used to the brakes. They go further to the floor than I'm used to, than I would like. But that could just be the way this car is. I don't know that for sure, because I've never driven this before. I've only ever driven one other Isuzu, and it was a brand new Trooper in like 2003 or so. I was trying to get a stick shift one, because those were available with a manual transmission. And they didn't have any on the lot. I drove a regular automatic one. I wasn't really thrilled by it. I felt really high up and really like I was going to tip over. The seating position was probably like a Land Rover Defender or Discovery or a Range Rover, but I hadn't really driven those things at that time, so I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't expect it to be tippy. And I was coming from an X5 that I was just kind of wanting to get out of and have something different. So obviously the X5 corners like it's on rails, and I just didn't know what to expect. This, I knew this was going to be bouncy and noisy and bumpy, and it's not really a highway car. It's not going to be used for that. And now I've run my mouth long enough to give you all a break to check back in with me shortly, because I will do more sit reps on the rest of my drive. We were going to go over some railroad tracks. Well, that wasn't too bad. All right, I'll see y'all shortly. What do you got there?
Got brake fluid.
Oh, is it because the brake fluid reservoir
Completely
is way down low and Max is up here? Is that why? Is that why we
might
need
need
that?
two of these.
No, I don't think we'll need two. But yeah, let's dump that in before I drive anymore. That's where the fluid's going.
Oh no.
I'll just get it from over here, maybe. Yeah, that's where the brake fluid's going. So it's got a leaky. It's just a leaky hose. So yay!
Hey, have fun.
I'll be monitoring that. Let me see. Is it going down anywhere else, or is it just that one line? Everything else looks okay. This is all old drips. All right. I'll be monitoring that brake fluid level like a hawk. Yay. All right, so this is your first time moving it.
Shift,
yeah. Try shifting. The car's off. So you're.
What? Did I do it?
You look like you're in second. So you see the shift pattern?
No.
You want to go
Three.
third or fifth, maybe?
4.
Yeah. Oh, so you might have been in fifth. Go over and to the left. And up. Yeah, that's first, and then straight back second. And then middle is third. Straight, yeah, then down would be fourth. Fifth is up and to the right.
Nice.
And then, yeah, and you can put it in neutral, you can put it in reverse, because you got to pull all the way to the right and then back.
Back. And that's
and over.
That's
like,
reverse.
Yeah. There you go. Now so now you shifted gears in a car that's not running, sitting in a parking lot that's dripping brake fluid everywhere. Yeah. I'm gonna have some Gatorade and get on the road. Wish me luck, y'all. Well, y'all, the brake light did go out on the dash, which is good. So I know when that comes back on, I need to pull over and fill up, because it is leaking out the back. And you know, hey, if that's the only thing that's like somewhat wrong with this truck, it's not too bad. I mean, it's a brake hose. You know, there's no way I could have really caught that. I'm not a mechanic. I only play one on YouTube. And I didn't even stay at Holiday Express last night. I stayed at home, so I didn't get the free breakfast. But, you know, we'll put fluid in. I drove my Land Rover back from Jacksonville to where I live on Amelia Island like this, and it was a little nerve-wracking, but it's mainly back roads, so there's not a lot of stops. You know, it drips, I guess, a little once in a while. I mean, the Land Rover, the main line was the problem. This one just seems to be the hose by the right rear wheel. And I have, you know, you've got the cross brakes on a modern vehicle, so I have half brakes even if that one leaks out. So anyway, I'm gonna enjoy sitting back in the AC. You know, this sunroof has no cover. It might have had one at one point because there's clips on it, but man, it lets in some hot air. Hot light. It makes the air hot in here, hot air in here. Hot air coming out of my mouth. I'll be back soon. I have a few thoughts as I'm driving along here, and one is, you know, this was based on an Isuzu pickup truck from the 80s, basically. So from the seats forward, it's a 4-cylinder 1980s compact pickup. You know, I mean, consider it like the front third of like a modern day Toyota Tacoma, for instance, or something like that. Just the front of the taco. But it was a pickup, so it's got that chassis and frame and all. This seat is as far back as it goes, and it is, I am very cramped in here. That's just an observation. I'm about Doug DeMuro's height, between 6'2" and 6'3", whatever he decides he is on any given day. About the same size. And so, yeah, no tilt wheel. I have the seat back a little bit, but this is as far back as it goes, and this is not a long distance cruiser anyway, but I would not want to be in here for a very long. I've got 2 hours and 28 minutes left on this trip. That's about all. I'm gonna have to stop and get out just to move around a bit, I think. It is tight in here for sure, for bigger people. Well, 2 hours and 7 minutes left, and brake light came back on, so low fluid again. Behind this like camper RV thing, and there were a bunch of railroad tracks we had to go over. Instead of just driving over them, they like stopped at like 3 sets of railroad tracks, and I was several cars back. So stopping at the railroad tracks, I had to inch up and hit the brake pedal, hit the brake pedal, hit the brake pedal like several times, and that was not helpful for people who have a leak in their brake system. they're still ahead of us, but this is a much better road that we're on now. By we, I mean the royal we. Well, y'all are with me on this trip. So yeah, you'll say a prayer for me for the brakes. I'm gonna stop at the next gas station. We're right now in the middle of nowhere for like 8 more miles. So there's no real reason for me to stop and fill it up until I, get to a place, because it's a straight road, middle of nowhere. If I see a gas station, I'll pull in, but I don't know that I will. Not until I get to whatever the next turn is, and then I'll top it off. Fun times. Well, sit rep, I had a water bottle explode all over me, which was lovely. Every single light has been red, of course, because no brake fluid. I did stop at an O'Reilly's distribution center. I figured that would be a good place to stop to fill it up again. But of course, there were like 9 effing, I didn't say it, red lights between the distribution center and the interstate, which it wants me to be on because that's the way to get to where I need to go. But I don't want to be on the interstate in this car at all. It's this is not a fun part of the trip. I realize I don't have to, hopefully, I don't have to stop on the interstate, because you should never stop on the interstate, but people do it for no reason whatsoever regularly. I'm on I-4, which is, a very busy road that goes to Orlando, and it's like rush hour. And the speed limit's 70. I haven't had this thing over 60. I don't particularly want to, but it's really not supposed to do that. It's just not what the car is for. I'm having a beer when I get to the Villages, and then I'm going to bed. I survived the I-4 corridor, y'all. The interstate was fun. I-4 is always a nightmare, but I only need to be on it for like 5 miles. Got off there, and then there were another bunch of traffic lights, and I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere now. So good opportunity to say, this is a stick shift car with a handbrake, and the handbrake works very well. Believe me, I know. And it downshifts well. Now, normally, if someone said, I like to downshift my stick shift car to slow down, I would say, whoa, hold on there, buddy. Easy there, gunpowder. Your brakes are much cheaper than your transmission, so the wear on the brakes, much more negligible cost-wise than downshifting. But in this case, I'm trying to use the brakes as little as possible. I've got another bottle of fluid here that's unopened. Hopefully I don't open it and try to drink it. It helps to downshift. And then, third down to second, I made sure in this, I was driving through Lakeland, Florida, which is a fairly big city. They have a Land Rover dealership, I noticed. I was behind an 18-wheeler, which is great because they slow down slowly, they speed up slowly. This thing has like 120 horsepower, so it's like half of anything else on the road these days. So anyway, I'm hoping 60 miles. Excuse me. I'm hoping that my next check-in will be when I get there. Y'all, I made it to the Villages. It started raining as soon as it got dark. That was lovely. Look, it's even got fog lights. How cool is that? And that right over there says the Villages. That's World of Beer. There's some kind of bakery. I don't know. I'm going to World of Beer. I had a Slim Jim and some Skittles for lunch. I'm starving. Hope y'all enjoyed this little trip. I've got another trip coming up. I got to drive from here to Jacksonville on Sunday. So stay tuned for more Doug's Cars. This thing made it without brakes. It was pretty good otherwise. Thanks for watching Doug's Cars. Stay tuned for more.